An American Werewolf in London, written and directed by John Landis, is the perfect example of a successful horror comedy in which terror is juxtaposed with absurdist comedy in a way that enhances the viewer's experience and makes for a gripping, entertaining film. At the beginning of the film, we are introduced to a pair of American students, Jack and David, on holiday in England. They are walking through the moors at night, in the cold, and Jack is lamenting their decision to visit rainy England instead of sunny Italy.
Well, I like it here.
Right. Northern England first, Italy later.
Right.
I mean, we've got 3 months.
Right.
Those sheep shit in my pack.
Their personalities are appealing, and we are invited to empathize with their situation, especially when they enter a creepy local pub and are treated with suspicion by the local patrons.
It's very cold outside. May we come in?
After accidentally offending one of the patrons,
You made me miss.
they are kicked out of the pub, but not before they receive a warning.
Go. Stay on the road. Keep clear to the moors.
Beware the moon, lads.
They immediately forget the warning and go traipsing off into the night. At this point, the tension heightens as the scene becomes darker, the music disappears, and is replaced by a haunting howl.
Did you hear that?
I heard that.
When the attack comes, it is brutal.
You really scared me, you shithead.
You gonna help me up or what?
This is no sanitized, family-friendly horror. The carnage is realistic, as are Jack's screams of pain. Landis clarifies in this moment that this is no campy, low-budget, tongue-in-cheek horror, but the real thing. As the story progresses, with David now the sole protagonist, Landis continues to blend the realistic, slightly humorous scenes with suspense and fear. David recuperates in a hospital in London, but is repeatedly haunted by strange dreams and visions, in which he is both the hunter and the hunted. Even worse, he experiences seemingly real visits from his dead friend Jack, who bears the horrific scars of his attack, and who urges David to kill himself before it is too late.
Can I have a piece of toast?
There are a few main elements that make this movie so good, but the one that stands out the most is the incredible makeup. Rick Baker's work on this film was so good that the Academy Awards instituted a Best Makeup Oscar Award, which he won for this film in 1981. The transformation scene in particular is masterful. Landis had approached Baker before the film was even in production, noting he wanted a scene in which David becomes a werewolf to happen under harsh, bright lighting. Baker took on the challenge, spending up to 10 hours applying makeup to the lead actor, and the result is part of film history.
Without a love of my own, blue.
Another extremely original aspect of this film is Landis's choice of music to accompany the eerie horror. Instead of relying solely on Elmer Bernstein's score, which is excellent in its own right, Landis chose to use popular songs with the word moon in the title, which lends an element of humor to the horror comedy. Under the opening credits, we hear a slow, romantic version of Blue Moon by Bobby Vinton. Then, during the transformation scene, it's a slightly more upbeat Sam Cooke version of the same song. And finally, the Marcel's doo-wop version plays over the closing credits. In addition, he uses Van Morrison's Moon Dance and Creedence Clearwater Revival's Bad Moon Rising. The contrast between the horror and the lighthearted tone of the songs supports the creepiness of the horror comedy genre. Another thing which makes this movie so unique are the genuine settings. Landis avoided prefabricated studio settings and instead chose to shoot most of the scenes in genuine locations. The moor scene was shot on the moors in northern England. The tube scene attack was shot in the London Tube after closing hours. And most impressively, the climactic Piccadilly Circus scene was shot in actual London landmark, between the hours of 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. on 2 consecutive nights in February. Lastly, Landis flaunted the horror movie tradition of using B-movie actors. Instead, he hired highly respected actors with stage and film experience to bring a necessary level of realism to the film and also effectively sell the comedy. John Landis's American Werewolf in London is a film that stands the test of time and is a must-watch for any fan of the comedy horror genre.